How's it going, YouTube? Today we're back with a brand new video. In today's video, we're going to be insulating plasterboarding a ceiling, and I'm going to actually walk you through it step by step and show you exactly how we do it from beginning to finish. Okay, so this is the ceiling, and we're just going to be overboarding it, so we're going to get started. Okay guys, so I'm actually just going to talk you through everything I do when I'm overboarding the ceiling, but also when I'm using especially these insulated plasterboard. So this, we're lucky enough in this little garden room that it actually wasn't built that long ago. This is only about a year and a half old, and the guy that built it himself. So there's a few things that will not usually happen that has happened here. So when the guy built this, he built it exactly. So you'll see when I offer the boards up to the ceiling, they're actually exactly when he put the rafters or the ceiling joists in, he put them in exactly so that they would take full lengths of board, and I basically just followed what he done. So he started here in the far right hand corner with a full board, and then every board was a cut, or every board fitted in perfectly with the cut from the previous end fitting on the other side. So there wasn't actually much cutting. It was just the ones at either side, and the boards landed on the joists. So what I'm doing here is, although I know exactly where the joists are going to be, I'm just going to find them by hand and mark them on the wall. The reason I do this isn't because I want to know where they are. It's because when I'm offered a bit of board up, I want to know exactly where to screw. So that's the reason I do this. I also chalk the first few lines, and this is all it says, is a string line with chalk in it, and that's just the check to make sure that the joists are running straight, because a lot of the times you can get the joists up and they're not straight. So that's what I'm just doing, is I'm making sure I snap the first few lines, and then I'm measuring, just make sure that the spacing's the same. Now what I'm going to do is, because I'm working on my own and these boards are heavy, I'm going to make a dead man, which is basically just a prop. I just screw, I'm basically making a T. I screw a bit of wood till the top of another bit of wood, and that just holds the board. So these are 50 mil overall insulated plasterboard. They're pretty heavy. And when I'm cutting these, I'm using a circular saw. So the circular saw cuts through them pretty easily. It creates a lot of dust, but it is a lot easier than cutting them with a saw. As you can see, I set the dead man against the wall, and then I use an actual plasterboard prop, and then I prop it up onto the ceiling. And then basically all we're doing is putting the screws into the board. So we're just going to put a screw sort of every 4 to 5 inches. Maybe a good idea also, when screwing these boards up, to use the discs. You can get actual discs that you put on till the screws. I didn't use them here because the guy didn't want them, but I always offer that as an option when I'm giving a price. It's obviously a bit more expensive because you have to buy the discs, but it's well worth the money. Not that they're you know, the screws aren't going to pull through realistically. But for, I think it's fire regulation or something. Yeah, you're better doing it. As I say, the option was offered in this case and wasn't took up. Another thing worth keeping in mind when, if you are going to be doing this on your own, unless you're doing this all the time, like if you're just a novice and you're doing this, and you don't do physical work as your job, I would advise maybe getting someone to help you put these boards up. Even someone that can just put their hand and hold it while you're lifting, because they are very cumbersome, these boards. They're big, and they're heavy. Now, it's not a massive deal for me because, you know, I do this all the time. I often use these boards and I'm used to lifting them, but if you're not used to lifting them, you're not strong, you can get somebody to give you a hand. If you can't get somebody to give you a hand, you can actually rent. They're like plasterboard lifters, so they're like a crank. They're like a crank arm. It's like a wee mini crane that you bring into your house. It's really, really small, and that will lift the board up onto the ceiling. But you still have to move these boards about, and there's a lot of weight in them. So, you know, so when we're lifting the boards, we can see where we'll have the dead man there. We're going to have to move it, and we're going to do it sideways. Now, when we get to the centre of the ceiling, that's going to be a bit more difficult because we haven't actually anywhere to set the dead man again. So I'm going to show you how I do that after. But when we're putting them here till the edge, what we're going to do is we're going to lift it up onto the dead man long ways. You see I struggle a little bit here, and it's because they're so heavy is the reason you struggle. Trying to just get it up over the lip of the dead man. So once we get it in place, we're going to use our prop again. We're going to line up the edge, and we're going to prop it up. Now that's propped up, we just go over and we actually give our dead man a kick. If you kick the bottom of the dead man, and it wedges the board further up into the ceiling, and you see here I'm just using a rubber mallet just to give it a little bit of a tap and make sure that it's in nice and tidy, so there's no massive big gaps or anything to look at. I just wanted to take a wee chance to let you know, if you want to support me, you can actually become a channel member. Channel members get extra videos, an extra video every month, and then they get to see these videos 2 weeks before everybody else. So this video has already been up for 2 weeks. So if you wanted to check it out, you could. And it's probably that and just liking and commenting on the videos. It's probably the best things you can do to support me, because my videos are actually monetized. So whether you're on the free version or the premium version of YouTube, when you get a video up, that's you actually support me. Yeah, but if you wanted to go that little bit extra, you could do that. Or if you even wanted to have a look at some of the tools I have in my description, I have tools there that I use day to day, and buying them from the affiliate links is a good way to support me also. Stuff that you would have bought anyway, but now you've bought it and I get a small percentage. So yeah, it's a good way to support me. So now I'm going to actually talk about the boards themselves for a little bit. So these are, as I said, 50mm insulated plasterboards. There's one size bigger than these ones. They're 60mm insulated plasterboard, and then there's two smaller sizes. Obviously these sizes differ from place to place, most likely, but in Belfast, Northern Ireland, these are the ones that we use. They're from Gyprock. They have the insulation. They have the insulation. They have a vapor barrier, which is like a metal backing. foil backing, and then they have the board on, and they're all sandwiched together and glued. And they're good boards. Now they're expensive. The 50mm boards, they are 40. They were like 49 something, 94. So it's like 50 quid a board. They're expensive, but they're definitely good. If you don't have the space, sort of between the rafters for insulation, this is a good way of getting around it. We usually mostly use these boards for insulating old houses. So you know, old pre-war solid brick houses. We're using them mostly on them. They're good for that application. There's a few ways that you can fit them. So the first way would be you fit some track. So it's like a metal track that comes. You build it about an inch or two away from the wall. You build the track. You put a vapor barrier in, and then you put the insulation over the track. So it's like building a stud wall in front of the original wall. This would be the best method, I would say, for doing it. And it insulates your wall, and then you don't have to worry about moisture coming through from the old wall. The second way of doing it is obviously not as good, but it's definitely an option that some people pick because it's slightly cheaper. So what we do is we'll go onto the wall itself with some DPC, and then we'll attach the DPC to the back of a bit of lath, and then we'll mechanically fix the lath to the wall, and then screw the board to the lath. Then another way that we will do it also, and I would only use these next two methods if the wall is completely dry, so you know that it has no moisture at all. What we do is we'll dot and dab the boards onto the wall. So this wouldn't really be okay to do in the older properties because you know the walls are going to be wet, but sort of in newer properties you could just dot and dab it straight to the wall. Or another way of doing it would be using an acrylic grab adhesive, some non-expanding foam, so grab foam, and then mechanically fixing them. And you're going to see here in the next video, the one after this one, it should be me putting insulated board onto these walls. And in here, because I know that it's not wet, the walls are flat and straight, so I don't have to worry about you know, getting the board straight or anything. So I just actually fit the board straight to the walls with mechanical fixing, which is the last option you can do. If all circumstances are perfect, just mechanically fix them straight onto the wall, and you're good to go. It's brand new. It has a cavity. There's no moisture present. It's sort of perfect to put these boards on that way. And that would be sort of how I would fix these boards. So when you're fixing them to a ceiling, like I said at the start, you can just screw them up. You know, I've done lots, and before building regulations brought in that you had to use the discs, we had no issue with screwing these straight till joists and stuff, and I've never had a board come off the ceiling. Fingers crossed. I've never had a board that's come off the ceiling because it didn't have a disc put on it. Yeah, so go with the discs if you want, but you don't really need to. If you're going to try to get it past building regulations, use the discs, because that's something that they'll definitely want to see. So I'm just going to talk you through what happens in this little bit here. I offered the board up to the ceiling because I've already cut it. And about halfway through, I actually realised that the board is just slightly too big. Now, I'm not sure why, but this wall was a little bit out. So in where you see the dead man's holding it, it's completely fine. And and you can see him actually trying to cut it with a hacksaw, but there just wasn't, I needed too much off it to get through it with a hacksaw, so I just take it down. But just here against the wall, against the dead, where the dead man is, it's actually, the board's the perfect size. And then as you move to the other side, it was just about an inch too big. So what you're going to see is I took it down and cut it. I actually messed about a bit here. I wasn't ready to accept defeat, but you'll see. I actually realised that it's way too big. I'll try to top it up another few times, but then eventually I do take it down, and then I'm going to cut it. So you're going to see how I actually cut the boards here. I'm going to do a separate video of how exactly I cut these boards, but there is one other video I have up on my channel. I'll link in the description, where I actually show you how I actually cut these boards, but I'm going to do a dedicated video on how to do it. Now, this stuff is deadly, real bad for your lungs, and you don't want to be breathing this stuff in. You need to avoid that at all costs, because like you could die pretty early from breathing this stuff in. But as you'll see, I don't put a mask on, I don't do any goggles, I'm not doing anything. I'm being an idiot, and realistically, you need goggles for this stuff because it gets in your eyes, and you need 100%. You need a dust mask. A full respirator would be the best option. I find it still actually gets through just the regular masks. You still end up with the respirator is the best, but I was just being stupid, and I should have realistically done it, but yeah. So we're just gonna screw this board up as well. It's all basically straightforward, like it's self-explanatory, the most of it. You're just screwing it the way you would regular plasterboard. And for those that haven't plasterboarded before, you can see here that we have like a brick effect on the ceiling, so none of our sideward joints meet up with each other, and this is actually a real important thing to do. If I had two joints that are sort of side by side line up with each other, what actually happens is it can crack across them joints. You're always wanting to do this sort of brick effect, and there's a reason why they build walls like that, because it's the strongest way to do it basically. If you don't do it, you're leaving it likely that it's going to actually crack across the joints. So you can see here I cut out around this electric box. I ended up having to fill that wee bit in as well, because the guy in the end wanted it like filled in. We agreed that we were going to sort of go around the box, but I ended up just basically boarding the box in just so that the lid opened, and that was it. But it was the way I wanted it, so that's what we went for. Yeah, so I've had a few people ask about the tool belt also. It's just a cheap one from just going to Screwfix and search tool belt. It's basically just the cheapest one that they had there. I got this one from the red part of the belt that you see was from Screwfix, and then the blue parts were from another belt that I had from years ago. I'm not sure, I think it came from B&Q. I took that one because I wanted extra pockets. So on this tool belt I actually have two pockets at the front. One for screws and the other one for like tape measure, Stanley knife, that sort of stuff. On my left hand side I have the pouch for the drill, and then on my left hand side I have a hook for hanging a hammer. Yeah, so that's the tool belt that I use. And then there's obviously a couple of wee smaller pockets where I put pencils and all that sort of stuff. But when I'm boarding insulated plasterboard or just regular board, I use this because I keep all my screws in there. Or when I'm putting the board onto the walls, when I'm using the hammer fixings, I keep the hammer fixings in there, and obviously my hammer for knocking stuff off and all that sort of thing. So This is the second last piece that we'll screw up. Then we have this little bit here, the little bit in the corner that we have left to do. And then the only other step after this would be, before you plaster, would be scrim taping these angles. So every one of these plasterboard join together, every single one of them is going to need scrim tape. So the ones that go sidewards and the ones that run from the door till the back wall all need unbroken scrim tape. So the whole length has to be done out of the same bit of scrim tape, just to ensure that it doesn't crack. You can maybe have one or two joints if you run out of scrim tape, but the best practice is to full lengths of it. And then once we have the boards on the walls, we're going to go around with 4-inch scrim tape, and we're going to scrim tape between the ceiling and the plasterboard on the walls. Yeah, so basically that's it. I'm going to hand you off. Okay, so that's how I fix insulated plasterboard to a ceiling. It's straightforward enough. Screw it up, good to go. I'm going to be doing 3 videos from here. This is the first one, insulated plasterboarding the ceiling, and then the second video is going to be me doing the walls, and then the third video is going to be me skimming the whole room. So I'm going to break each video down and going to let it play, and fully explain everything that I'm doing. Just give it a real good breakdown. That's going to do it for this video. If you liked it, hit the thumbs up button, subscribe, turn on your bell. The best way to support me is the like and comment, because when you do that, it pushes me further in the algorithm. More people see the video, and then because my channel's monetized, I get paid. So it's a good way to support me. If you want to do more than just that, you can go to my you can become a member. Becoming a member gets you an extra video every month, and then you also get all the videos that you're watching here 2 weeks early. I'm also going to be starting putting some YouTube shorts for subscribers only. So yeah, you can also go to my Patreon, get you the same thing, buy me coffee link, or if you want to buy any of the tools that I use day to day, they're all in the description below. So just click on the link, you buy the tool, I get a small percentage. It doesn't cost you any more, and it's a good way to support me without actually support me. And yeah, that's it basically. Thanks for watching. Check out the social media, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.